At the beginning of this year, my husband and I took part in going to foster care classes. This happened at the organization in Highlands County called Heartland for Children, and we did that because we are passionate about children going through what I call the cycle. And if you're not sure what I mean by the cycle, I mean the kids who grow up in low-income families. A lot of times there's abuse, neglect, drug abuse, and they are tainted by that from the time that they're in the womb. And as they grow up, they continue that cycle, and their kids are in the cycle, and it repeats over and over. And we are passionate about helping those kids break out of that cycle. So we went to foster parenting classes, and we learned a lot about becoming foster parents, which is something we really want to do. And today I could stand in front of you and talk about the importance of foster families and why you should become one. And I would love to talk about that. But instead, I've chosen to talk about the deeper rooted issue, which is drug abuse. The majority of families that lose their children to the foster care system is because of drugs in the home. And so I wanted to take some time to tell you specifically how drug abuse affects these children. Now, this doesn't just start off families doing cocaine or meth. It always starts with marijuana. And so today I want to talk to you about the seriousness of marijuana and why we should take it seriously in our own lives and those around us. There's 3 people I want to talk to today. The first one is maybe you're like me. Maybe you're someone who doesn't smoke marijuana. And I want to encourage you to stay that way. First of all, if we want to have a voice in people's lives to offer them hope and restoration, that they can get out of this cycle, we ourselves can't be tainted by this drug as well. Secondly is marijuana is a gateway drug. You never hear a story of someone just randomly doing cocaine. They always start with something that's easy, that doesn't really affect them that much. And when you do that, you never know what the consequences on your body can be. The cost is just saying no to something that ultimately has the power to control your life and hurt you. And the reward is having the freedom of not being in an addicted-like state, and also getting to be real and in life with people around you in a normal state and not in a state where you are dependent on a drug. The second type of people I want to talk about today is the children that grow up in families that abuse drugs. We have to start taking marijuana seriously and teaching them at a young age that this is something that is serious and can really lead to crucial effects. According to drugabuse.gov, when you start using marijuana and you use it for a long period of time, it actually changes the brain activity where you have less reaction to dopamine, which means you need more and more things to make you feel that feel good sense of feeling. Which means smoking and getting high off of weed isn't gonna do it for you anymore. And that's why marijuana is a gateway drug, because it doesn't give you that high that you're looking for after a long period of time. So if we're able to help these kids stay off of marijuana, that is something that most people consider not that serious, we can ultimately help them stay off of cocaine and meth, which doesn't allow them to get a job, doesn't allow them to be there for their families and take care of their kids, and ultimately continues that cycle. There are over 200 kids in the foster care system in Highlands County alone. These kids have a much higher chance of being homeless and not having a job and having their own children be taken into foster care as well. So we have to start teaching them at a young age and providing an example that marijuana can ultimately destroy your life because of the consequences down the road. The last people I want to talk about today are the parents. The people that are abusing drugs, that are in this cycle. A lot of times we want to judge these people. How could they make these choices? How could they put their kids in danger like this when they're doing these hard drugs and their kids are in the home? But the truth is that they grew up in that same cycle. And if we can't just sit back and judge them. If we're gonna offer judgment, we have to offer some sort of solution. And that solution comes with hope and restoration, redemption. I believe that is there. But first, we have to address the drug abuse problem, and we have to take drugs seriously and say that violence goes up, domestic violence especially. And so when you have violence and neglect, that often stems from drug abuse. And so we need to have programs for these people to offer them the hope to help them get out of these addictions and offer more kinds of support for these families to get out of this cycle, not only for their life, but also for their children's lives. The cost of this is just our time and caring about other people in the world. And the reward is that we get to have an influence on people's lives. So when you stay off of drugs, you meet your most basic needs, your needs of survival. And I want you to imagine the kid at school. I work at an elementary school that didn't eat dinner, and the kid whose parents both went to jail because of domestic violence, and the kids who don't have a ride to school because they don't have a car. All of these have stemmed from drug abuse. And if we take that seriously, specifically marijuana, we have the chance to save these kids from the cycle.